relaxations. How say De La Hoya and quartey?
If they give style points for relaxation coming into the ring, then quartey is already the early leader. De La Hoya looks tense. Quartey looks eager. Round one begins with a quartey jab and a quartey left hook. Many believe that the first big question in the bout is what does De La Hoya do to nullify the quartey jab? Now, George Foreman, you're in the minority who believe that it is not as heavy or effective a jab as is De La Hoya's. But as you look at Ike Quartey getting started here, talk about the bazooka jab and what it does for him.
He's got a good left jab, but he still doesn't have the jab of the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. Oscar De La Hoya has this stiff left jab, and he keeps his hands up. He'll find that jab bumping into Oscar De La Hoya's gloves and elbows a lot of the night. When Oscar decides to land 2 or 3 good jabs, it can change the whole course of this fight.
But you saw the most important punch that De La Hoya has thrown so far is trying to throw that right hand over the jab. He's always been considered a left-handed fighter.
And if Quartey's biggest weapon is his jab, De La Hoya's is his left hook to the body. He landed it twice in sequence just a moment ago.
Well, you see that jab of Oscar De La Hoya goes to the side of the face, and if he matches jab after jab, he's got the reach advantage. His jab is supposed to reach target before Ike's jab.
Chopping right hand landed for Quartey, but it does look as though the early strategy for De La Hoya is to out-jab the jabber in effect.
Well, he's forcing him to jab because Oscar doesn't see any openings right now. Quartey keeps his hands up real good. But you want to make sure whenever Quartey jab, you jab along with him. Every time that left jab goes out, yours should be going out too.
Left hook to the body by De La Hoya. Quartey likes to keep his hands up in a peekaboo. Does that create an opening for De La Hoya to get to the rib cage with his left hand?
Well, I don't think Oscar should go to the body this early in the fight because he is the taller of opponents. He's dropping his head down into some dangerous territory. You want to keep your head up as long as you can. Stand and utilize that height advantage. His head is up there away from Quartey's punches.
Blood trickling from De La Hoya's nose.
And that could be the product of the stiff jab with which Quartey has been rolling up the points so far in round number 1. De La Hoya pounding to the body. Quartey blocking the left hook with his elbow. Blocks the right with his elbow there. And De La Hoya gets a right and a left through the guard. Quartey, normally a phenomenally fast starter, is forced to stand and watch as De La Hoya picks up the tempo here.
Very, very intense action.
He's allowed Oscar De La Hoya to punch him. You don't want to do that. It's not a joke if the fight continues on for a couple of rounds.
Whether correctly or incorrectly, if you believe what Quartey has said coming into the fight, he doesn't have a lot of respect for De La Hoya's power.
Un poquito, Oscar, más laterales, side to side, okay? A little bit more side to side, and you're gonna be first with a jab. Stay more busy with a jab, okay? And keep him outside, okay? Don't let him in. Keep him outside, side to side, and stay busy with a jab.
Watch my call jab, jab.
You're giving him too many chances. Okay. When you hit him, you step back. When you hit him, step back. Don't let him use his left hook. Okay, you gotta step back anytime you hit him. Okay, don't let him give him a chance.
Those of you who speak a little God don't need Fred Acito's translation in that corner, but for the rest of us, Fred is the man. Jabs in round 1 by CompuBox numbers. De La Hoya 10 out of 33. Quartey 9 out of 32. A standoff.
Now there's a piston-like jab from De La Hoya. His corner told him go side to side. He's standing flat-footed.
They said go side to side and stay busy with the jab.
You know something? Communication sometimes is a big problem with fighters. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. You can get away with it. Sometimes Oscar's He's young and he's kind of rebellious. You want to tell him to do something in a real sweet fashion, so to speak.
You used to bring in Angelo Dundee, who would have nothing to do with your training camp, but who came to the fight to communicate with you in the ring.
That's right. You need communications in the ring.
The biggest CompuBox news out of round one was that Quartey, throwing only 43 punches, threw less than half his normal first-round average. Usually that's because the other guy punches hard coming back.
Both showing some respect for each other's punching ability.
Oscar's also doing a lot of waiting, and this is not what you want to do. If a guy can punch, don't wait on him to hit you. Go on and hit him. As far as him being a tough opponent, every opponent is tough. That's what you're a boxer for. You don't mind a guy being tough.
De La Hoya backing up, making Quartey reach with his jab, hoping that Quartey will overcommit with the jab, and he can counter him with right hands, as Jose Luis Lopez effectively did in the late rounds of his battle with Quartey.
And that's Oscar doing an excellent job of stepping back, moving around the ring, making this guy follow you. Same time, keeping your right hand up.
If you can make him lean forward just a tiny fraction.
That's right. Just make him get overconfident.
And there it was. The right hand over the top of Quartey's left.
Oscar want to go back into his position and don't get yourself out of position, reaching out at anything. Quartey is doing a good job of keeping this balance.
Quartey wears what amounts to a confident grin on his face throughout the action. De La Hoya with a look of determined tenacity.
He's doing a good job, but you don't want to get in a boxing match with Oscar De La Hoya. I'll tell you that. You want to go on and throw your jab, keep punching him at all times, but he's standing there watching Oscar De La Hoya. One punch comes, next thing you know, you're hit with 5 or 6.
Even Quartey's biggest supporters would agree in most cases that De La Hoya is the more flexible, more multi-talented boxer.
De La Hoya was caught with a good right hand that time.
But comes back with a left-right left of his own. Quartey getting on a left to the body as De La Hoya missed the right upstairs. Dropping right in, hand inside by Quartey. Both fighters experiencing some moments in the closing seconds of round two.
Let's take a look at the jab, and as you see, De La Hoya coming over with a straight right. Never been his best punch. Threw that one perfectly without a lot of power.
Okay, you gotta feint this guy, and you gotta have more lateral movement.
The combination with which Jose Luis Lopez bedeviled Quartey in the late rounds of their fight, October of '97, was counter right across the top of Quartey's jab, left hook to the body. He landed it over and over and eventually put Quartey down with a right hand.
You notice Oscar's been so effective with his left jab that Quartey is not even trying to jab as much.
In round number two, Quartey again threw sparingly, only 46 punches. De La Hoya threw more, 62, but Quartey landed at a much higher rate.
But by the same token, George, Oscar is not throwing his left hook as much, and that's his big punch.
Well, remember, Quartey is supposed to be this great jabber, and it is just not happening. You know why? Because Oscar matches jab for jab. Then when you take a guy's biggest weapon from him, then he turns ordinary, and you try to attack him with your stuff.
Yeah, but if he's taking the other guy's best weapon away, they've neutralized their best weapons, and they have to show each other that they can beat each other with other stuff.
And De La Hoya starting to get to Quartey with power punches in round three. Quartey grinning as if to say, you didn't hurt me. Usually that means I'm a little bewildered that you're hitting me the way you are.
That's what you're able to do. You jab, throw right hands, and then use your footwork to make the other guy miss you as he tries to pay you back.
And when a guy, and I'm talking about the gold trunk Quartey here, when a guy who normally throws 80 or 85 punches around is throwing 40, does that mean his confidence